Hello, have you ever considered that being in relationships with one another, good godly relationships, and being in community with one another could be a fabulous way to be generous? Today we're going to dig in how community and being involved in community in one another's lives can be such a generous act, and how you can use that to just help others. If you're new here, I'm Cassandra Lowry. Every Saturday we do a Seeds of Generosity video here because I believe that generosity is such an important part of our walk and our faith, not because we're required to do more or earn God's love, but because when we're filled with God's love, we want to pour that out on other people as well. If you take a look in the description, you will find a free PDF of 14 things that God says about you, declarations that you can speak over yourself, verses to back them up so you can use them as a Bible study and grow in who God says you are, because that is going to help you in your walk, in your faith, to trust God and to realize His goodness. And that is so important as you walk out your faith in this world. So I hope you will take a look and find that free PDF. I find it so vital to speak those truths over ourselves, to renew our minds daily. Okay, let's dig in. How can being in community be generosity? There are so many things. We are actually, a lot of times I just cover one verse and then we talk about some type of generosity. Today we're actually going to talk about several different verses showing how being in relationships with one another and using that to support and encourage one another can be such a generous act. So let's start off with how it is so beneficial in a good way, how we can just be encouraged and stimulated is one of the words we're going to use. So 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 11 is where we'll start. Therefore, encourage one another and build up one another, just as you also are doing. So just building each other up and encouraging one another. If you've been on the receiving end of that, you know how generous that truly is, right? It is such a wonderful act, especially for those that have the love language of words of affirmation. That is huge for that. So building one another up, encouraging one another. We all have times in our lives where it's kind of hard and we need an encouraging friend nearby to help us. So being in those relationships where you can see when somebody truly needs some encouraging, but even on a daily basis or a regular basis, just encouraging others is great. And it's so much easier to do when you're in a real relationship with them, when you've actually taken time to build that trust and that relationship and are closer than just acquaintances who see each other on the road here and there. Another one is in Hebrews chapter 10, verses 23 through 25. Let us hold fast the confession of our hope without wavering, for he who promised is faithful. And let us consider how to stimulate one another to love and good deeds, not forsaking our own assembling together, as is a habit of some, but encouraging one another, and all the more as you see the day drawing near. So again, encouraging one another, assembling together, being together, so that you have that time to stimulate one another. You're stimulating each other to love and to good works. And a lot of that comes through studying the word together, just really fleshing some of that out together. As you work through that, that's really going to help each of you and the other people that you're with, just really be overfilled with God's love and His goodness, which pours out in good deeds, in love. And then it comes from that overflowing, not from that, I have to do this to be a good Christian, because that's not what we're called to do. We're not called to to-do list of do this to be a good Christian, do this to earn God's love, do this to earn God's favor. Nope. We are called to just flow in it because of God's love filling us and overflowing through us. But so being in that community, assembling together and just helping each other grow in love and just helping each other see the good deeds that are available to do, because we all have different connections to different ministries, to different people, to different needs, to different thought processes, all of that. And so even that part of it, just helping each other see different needs or different ways to serve, is a fabulous way to practice that generosity too. And thus, even more so, it becomes a generous act on the outside as well. Another one is in Proverbs chapter 27, verse 17. Iron sharpens iron, so one man sharpens another. So again, that just being together in relationship with other people, studying the Word of God, you're going to help each other sharpen up your sword that is used in spiritual battle. You are going to be growing in wisdom. You're going to just be helping one another. And that's so generous if you spend your time in those things, helping others to grow and to sharpen one another. And they're being generous back by sharpening you as well. It's all just working together in that community, being generous with one another in your love and your help in that. Okay, now we're going to take a look at a couple of verses and passages where when things are hard, community is so important. We'll turn to Ecclesiastes 4:10 first. Actually, we'll start in 9. 2 are better than 1 because they have a good return for their labor. For if either of them falls, the one will lift up his companion. But woe to the one who falls when there is not another to lift him up. Again, just being surrounded by people that you're actually in relationship with, people that you can call on when you have fallen and need help, people that will see when you've fallen. Maybe you don't even want to admit it, but they can see that there's something going on and they need to step in and lift you up. They're being generous to you doing that. You being in relationship with one another, be in that community where you can be that person for somebody else. Be generous enough to see somebody and know when they need lifted up. And spend time in prayer asking, how do I lift them up? Because sometimes it's not totally clear. And so you need to spend that time in prayer. And when you're spending time in prayer over a person, asking how you can help, that's generosity too. It's being generous with your time, with your just communication with God, and wanting to love on that person in a way that's going to lift them up and help them. Okay, our last one, we're going to go to Galatians chapter 6, verses 1 and 2. Brethren, if anyone is caught in any trespass, you who are spiritual, restore such a one in a spirit of gentleness. Each one looking to yourself, so that you too will not be tempted. Bear one another's burdens, and thereby fulfill the law of Christ. Okay, we've seen that the law is to love God with all your heart and soul, and to love others as yourself. So by bearing one another's burdens, that's love. That's sharing Christ's love with them. That is fulfilling that. We need to be, you can't see that from far away. You can't see that when you're not in that relationship, when you're not actually getting to know people. You don't see the burdens. And so you need to be generous with your time and getting to know people and actually getting to know who they are so that you can recognize those burdens that you can help them bear. They can be, some of them are public if they lose a loved one. Some of them are not when they're feeling overwhelmed in their home because of something that's happening there, or just health issues that are not visible on the outside necessarily unless you know them well. So being in community with others is such a generous act if you can actually be in that real community, that real relationship. So you can get to know people, you can recognize burdens, how to lift them up. But you can also spend that time stimulating one another, helping each other, enjoying company and rejoicing together. There's so much about just being in relationships. Look at how Christ did not walk alone. Yes, he spent time alone in prayer with his Father, like we're supposed to do. But he was so generous with his time, teaching his close disciples, teaching even more that came along, and generous with his time, healing and seeing those who have burdens. Thinking of the woman at the well, he saw her burden. So I encourage you today, be generous with your time and the way you interact with other people, so that you can build relationships where you will be an incredible value to them. And in turn, they're going to be that to you as well. It's a generosity that reciprocates so well, and everybody benefits from it. Iron sharpens iron. Encourage one another. Stimulate one another. It reciprocates and is going to just show God's love to everyone around as they see this playing out. If you're looking for this type of community and you don't have one right now, or you need some more, I've opened the doors to Simply Gathered, an online community that I'd love to have you consider joining. It's just a place for Christian women to come together, to be that community for one another, to grow in ways to know each other, to help each other to grow in wisdom together, share our wisdom with one another, and to just be an encouragement, to be that person that says, I see you. What you're doing is valuable. You're doing this. You got this. How can I pray for you today? We need those communities, right? I really, really, really want you to have some in-person ones. And we'll talk on some later videos about ways that you can start that up, even maybe as an introvert. But if you don't have that right now, I encourage you, take a look in the description below and see that link for Simply Gathered, and check it out to see if that's a place where you can build relationships, where you can be generous in your time to build one another up and reciprocate, enjoy the benefits of that reciprocation back to you with other women as well. I hope that you have an absolutely wonderful day. I hope this has been an encouragement to you, and I can't wait to see you next time. Have a fabulous day. We'll see you next time. Bye.